Jamie, let's get it started right now with the players we love. Who's the start of the week?
Justin Fields. Expecting him to build off what he's been doing, not necessarily to the same heights. 30-point game I think is not realistic to expect, but it'd be fun. The Dolphins defense has allowed basically an average of 21 points per game to opposing quarterbacks for the season. I think this will be a game where they're chasing points to Bears, and we'll get some garbage time production from Fields. But I like the way he's throwing the ball. I certainly love the way that he's running the ball. 3 straight games with 60 yards or more on the ground. 2 rushing touchdowns over that span. So we'll see with the addition of Chase Claypool how this looks. We'll see how the addition of Bradley Chubb on the other side, what that does for the Dolphins defense. But I think as we've been talking about, certainly Heath has said this time and time again, the stretch run of games for Fields coming up was going to be fun. And it starts this week with Miami at home, back-to-back road games for the Dolphins as well.
Okay, and not changing your outlook at all with the Bradley Chubb trade, and now they signed him to the extension.
No, I think obviously it makes a little bit more pressure on him, but it's not like he's a stand in the pocket, make plays like that. It might actually help him because he's chasing him, one direction or the other. And who knows? I don't know if Chubb is walking in and playing, the majority of the defensive snaps right away. He's going to play a lot, but it's not enough to sway me. I did drop him a spot or 2 in the rankings. I think I had him originally like 6, so now I have him down to like 8, but still a top 10 guy.
Okay, we're going to take a look at that game tomorrow. Heath, who do you love this week?
I love Josh Palmer. I'll really love Josh Palmer, assuming Keenan Allen's ruled out, but it sure doesn't sound like he's going to play. And even if he does, I don't think we can expect Keenan Allen to be a full-time player or maybe even finish the game. Palmer's had at least 8 targets in 3 different games this year. He scored at least 13 fantasy points in all 3 of those games. He might get double-digit targets in this game. No Mike Williams, probably no Keenan Allen. Josh Palmer to the moon.
All right, well, here's another reason to like Josh Palmer. If you think he's going to get 7 or more targets, which you obviously do, there have been 15 wide receivers who have had 7 or more targets against the Falcons, which is a lot, by the way. 14 of them have scored scored more than 12 PPR fantasy points. So you want more than 12, but that's basically the floor. 14 out of 15 have scored 12 or more PPR fantasy points when you get 7 targets against the Atlanta Falcons. Who are we avoiding this week? You know what, Keith? I think I want to go to you first. Are you ready for that? Who to avoid this week?
It's hard to avoid a running back this week, but you mentioned it. I would like to avoid DeAndre Swift. He's just barely still in my top 20 running backs. I'm going to have Jamal Williams ahead of him in both formats. They gave him 5 carries, and Dan Campbell said that was probably too many. I think probably because he's tweaked something on the last one. He is just not healthy right now. I can't trust him to be healthy. I'm moving into Antonio Gibson ahead of him with the J.D. McKissick potential injury and the fact that Gibson's just probably going to touch the ball more than he is.
We probably gave Swift 1 too many carries. We love Swift. Glad he's out there, but he's not back. He's given us what he has, but it's just not, and so maybe give another one of those carries to Jamal. Yeah. So it's a shame. You don't have a truly healthy player in DeAndre Swift. Jamie, who we benching?
It's hard to bench anybody this week that you've been starting, but like he said, I would try to stay away from Tom Brady if you can. Obviously it's been a rough season for him. It was pretty alarming. Like when you look at his box score, his game log, and you see only 1 game with multiple touchdowns on the season. That's very frustrating for the amount of times that he's throwing the ball. And so while the Rams defense is not the same Rams defense, I just don't know if Tom Brady is the same Tom Brady at this point. So Fields over him, Geno over him. I don't know if that's a surprise anymore. Tua easy. Aaron Rodgers I'd start over him, and I'd start Trevor Lawrence over him this week too. I just don't think it's a very high ceiling play for Tom Brady at this point.
That's pretty interesting, and that game's not on our slate today. NFC home game, Rams at Bucks, 4:25 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. But Heath, I know that you look at the touchdowns, and we talked about it yesterday as buy low as Chris Godwin and Tom Brady. Dave said Tom Brady, you said Chris Godwin, and you think the touchdown rate has to come up. Meanwhile,
I would agree, but not this week.
Okay. And then when I'll ask you both, Geno Smith versus Tom Brady, I remember not loving Geno Smith going up against the Cardinals a few weeks ago, because of the Cardinals style of defense, and he didn't have a good game. So, Heath, you want to talk about Brady just so we can get your opinion on him before we break down that game as well?
I do think that there's touchdown regression coming. I don't know for sure if it's going to happen this week or not, but as long as he keeps throwing the ball 40 times a game, at some point he's going to have multiple touchdown passes. At some point he's probably going to have 3 of them. He's a borderline top 12 guy. You can see we've all got him here between 11th and 13th. Sports line's the lowest at 14th. I'm probably not making a move if I missed out on Justin Fields to sit him. I would not start Trevor Lawrence over him. So that's maybe the one where it might be a little too far for me. But it's just like with this, it's just like the guys that don't have any touchdowns yet, Deontay Johnson and Chris Godwin. Like we know they're going to catch multiple touchdown passes over the course of the rest of the season. You don't know that it's going to start this week. Well, we know that it's not for Johnson.
The thing about it, for Brady that makes me a little bit more concerned is he hates pressure up the middle. Who's coming right at him? With that offensive line. He played this team in the playoffs. Similar style. Clearly, they haven't changed very much. He threw for 370, 1-1, had a fumble in the game. So 15 fantasy points in the playoff loss against the Rams.
Threw for 370 yards. That's good though.
It's great.
Yeah.
But when you throw the ball 50 plus times, you expect to be in that range, right?
Well, yeah, that's what he's doing.
And he did that without Godwin, to be fair.
Right.
I just think that there's enough of a sample size and give the Rams defense credit. We sit here and we talk about how bad the Rams offense has been. They gave up 36 fantasy points to Josh Allen in week 1. Their average against is 15 points in the last 7 games. So they've been pretty good against opposing quarterbacks.
All right.
Garoppolo did get 22 against them.
Yeah, it's an interesting game. You would expect Rams Bucks. Maybe you'd expect a shootout in years past. I don't know what kind of game it's going to be. All right.
I don't think you expect any shootouts with the Rams anymore.
No, the total's only 42.5. So Vegas not expecting a shootout in that game.